Digital forensics. Digital forensics, sometimes known as digital forensic science, is a branch of forensic science encompassing the recovery and investigation of material found in digital devices, often in relation to computer crime. The goal of digital forensics is to examine digital media in a forensically sound manner with the aim of identifying, preserving, recovering, analyzing, and presenting facts and opinions about the digital information. The process: identification, preservation, collection, examination, analysis, presentation, decision. The digital forensic process is a recognized scientific and forensics process used in digital forensics investigations. The goal of the process is to preserve any evidence in its most original form while performing a structured investigation by collecting, identifying, and validating the digital information for the purpose of reconstructing past events. The process best practices: the original image must be a bit-level copy, sector by sector, to capture deleted files, slack spaces, and unallocated clusters. The original image is called the primary image, which must be stored in a library. Investigators should only work from a copy of the primary image called the secondary image. These should be time-stamped to show when the evidence is collected. Before collecting the images to a new media, it is important to ensure the destination is sanitized. Forensics investigative assessment types: network analysis. We're looking at traffic analysis, log analysis, path tracing through the network. Media analysis: we're looking at disk imaging, timeline analysis, registry analysis, and shadow volume analysis. If we're looking at software analysis, we're looking at reverse engineering, malicious code review, and exploit review. Finally, if we're looking at hardware and embedded device review, we're looking at dedicated appliance attack points, firmware and dedicated memory inspections, and embedded operating systems, virtualized software, and hypervisor analysis. Digital evidence is defined as information and data of value to an investigation that is stored on, received, or transmitted by an electronic device. This evidence can be acquired when electronic devices are seized and secured for examination. Digital evidence is information stored or transmitted in binary form that may be relied on in court. It can be found on a computer hard drive, a mobile phone, a personal digital assistant or PDA, a CD, a flash card, and a digital camera, among other places. Digital evidence is commonly associated with electronic crime or e-crime, such as child pornography or credit card fraud. Digital evidence is now used to prosecute all types of crimes, not just e-crime. The evidence should be relevant, complete, sufficient, and reliable to the case at hand. Relevant: it must have reasonable and sensible relationship to the findings. It must be complete. It must present the whole truth of the issue. It must be sufficient. It must be persuasive enough to convince a reasonable party or a reasonable person of the validity of the evidence. Finally, reliable. It must be consistent with the facts, must be factual and not circumstantial. Chain of digital evidence are very important parts of digital investigation process. We're looking at collection and identification. From there, we go to storage, preservation, and transportation. All of these are critically monitored. From there, it goes to the presentation in court. And finally, the return of evidence to its owner. A chain of custody is when information is gathered from the crime scene and is used to create a chain of custody to show what was at the scene, its location, and its condition. It is important because it can be used during a criminal court trial. A history that shows how evidence was collected, analyzed, transported, and preserved are in order to be presented in court. Chain of custody should follow evidence through its entire life cycle. When copies of data need to be made, the copies must be able to be independently verified and must be tamper-proof. Chain of custody evidence dictates that all evidence be labeled with information indicating who secured and validated it.